To start with, we've taken the 4 standoffs and screwed them into the frame. We're going to place it, the nose pointing away from us, and now we're going to put in the motors. With the clockwise motors with the black nuts on the top, they go at number 1 and number 4. The way that they're done is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the numbers of the motors. And then we've got the silver ones that go there. So you make sure that the wire goes down the gully, and then we're going to Loctite the screws into here. We're taking a little bit of Loctite, dab it on the bottom, and we screw it in. Once you've got one screwed in, only loosely screw this one, and you can adjust so you can see all the other 4 holes. Tighten up a little bit to keep it in place, and then we're going to do the other 3 nuts. Once all the nuts are in, tighten them with a diagonal sequence so that they all get evenly tightened and one side isn't more tight than the other. Now that that's done, we want to put the wires down the gully, give them a little bit of slack, and then we're just going to chop off just a little bit of the excess up here. And then we're going to strip these wires. We've got a specialist tool, but you can use a sharp knife. Twist the ends, and then we're going to pre-tin them. So make sure you're using a hot iron. Just get like a nice pre-tin onto those 3 wires. So we've now put all 4 motors in, screwed them down, and we've kind of given them a little bit of slack, cut them, and then pre-tinned all 4 motors. Now we're going to be putting in the ESCs. So you're going to want to put in the first ESC like this, the 3 wires that come out of the motor, get them straight so they're not tangled, and they're going to go onto those 3 pads like that, those 3. And you're going to want to have the 2 with the writing facing up on the bottom, and then when the ones are on the top, you have the writing facing down, and we'll show you why that is in a second. So let's go solder this ESC. Again, make sure your soldering iron is nice and hot, and then we're going to pre-tin the 3 pads on the ESCs. So a little dab of solder on the iron helps transfer the heat faster. And then we're going to connect the 3 wires as they come out of the motors. So that one. Now that we've got that first ESC connected, we're going to go and add our PDB into the board. This is the CC3D, and we're going to take the positive sides on the left and the negative side on the right. We're going to take our 4 standoff screws, put them through the bottom, and we're going to put them like that. So positive on the left, negative on the right, and we'll show you why that is in a second. So we've attached the CC3D PDB into there with the nylon standoffs with the screws on the top, and now we are going to connect the positive and negative of the ESC. And you can see why we've done the ESCs pointing up this way. So you've got the positive wire that's closest to the positive, and the negative can go around the standoff and can be soldered onto the CC3D. So we're going to measure that out, cut the wires, pre-tin the CC3D, and then tie it in. So a little tip that we can use is a little bit of double-sided sticky tape. This is like foam tape, so it's got a little bit of foam in between it, and it just helps keep everything in place. Again, just strip it. And we're going to go and pre-tin those, pre-tin the pads, and then solder them down. I'm going to pre-tin all the way down the PDB. Just makes it easier to do it now. Nice amount of solder. Now I'm going to pre-tin the two wires. And solder those down to each of the pads. And there you go, the first ESC is in. So we've now soldered in all 4 ESCs, and as you can see, the bottom ones, they go nicely to the positive and then the negative, and then the top ones, they do the same, but it's easier to see where the wires go like that. So next we're going to be wiring in the XT60 cable, and we are going to be cutting it first. So it's going to come up through the top here. We're going to cut it to length. Again, pre-tin it and solder it down. Once you've pre-tinned the XT60, hold it in place and solder it down to the PDB. There you have it. XT60 is attached to the PDB.